चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलम् श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरतुषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंशकल्पतरुर्भ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नमोस्तुते व्यासविशालबुद्धे फुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्रे येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वलितो ज्ञानमयप्रदीपः प्रपन्नपरिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। Chapter 18, last section. So we hope to complete this chapter today. We'll be reading from verse number 62 onwards. Let's look at verse 62. Tamev sharanam gaccha sarvabhavena bharata tatprasadat param shantim sthanam prapsyasi shashvatam. In the previous verse, Krishna told Arjuna, Ishvara sarvabhutanam hiddesha Arjuna tishtati. So there is supreme controller sitting in the heart of every living entity and guiding them through the course of activities in material world. So in this verse then he says, Tam eva sharanam gaccha. Sharanam gaccha means go to the shelter uh, and become surrendered unto that supreme Ishvara or controller. O scion of Bharata, surrender unto him utterly. Sarva bhavena Bharata. Sarva bhavena means completely. Tat prasadat param shantim. By his grace you will attain transcendental peace. Sthanam prapsyasi shashvatam. And you will attain to the supreme and eternal abode. So purport. A living entity should therefore surrender unto the supreme personality of Godhead, who is situated in everyone's heart, and that will relieve him from all kinds of miseries of this material existence. By such surrender, not only one be released from all miseries in this life, but at the end he will reach the supreme God. The transcendental world is described in the Vedic literature, Rig Veda 1.22.20, as Tad Vishnoho Paramam Padam. Since all of creation is the kingdom of God, Everything material is actually spiritual. But Paramam Padam, it specifically refers to the eternal abode, which is called the spiritual sky or Vaikuntha. In the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, it is stated, Sarvasya chaham hridhi sannivishtaha. The Lord is seated in everyone's heart. So, this recommendation that one should surrender unto the Super Soul sitting within means that one should surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Krishna has already been accepted by Arjuna as the Supreme. He was accepted in the 10th chapter as Param Brahma Param Dhama. Arjuna has accepted Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the Supreme Abode of all living entities, not only because of his personal experience, but also because of the evidence of great authorities like Narada, Asita, Devadani, Vyas. So here Krishna is telling you, go take shelter of that Supreme Lord. He's not telling take shelter of me. So a question may arise. Why is he telling go take shelter of the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Ishvara? Because in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is teaching about different types of different levels of surrender. Bhagavad Gita talks about different kinds of practitioners belonging to different stages in the evolution of the soul. So there is one stage where one is cautious of uh, cautious and conscious of the instructions or directions coming from the super soul, and therefore one is surrendered to the super soul. At that stage, one may still not know that Krishna, the Supreme Bhagavan, is also the source of the Super Soul. So, therefore, for such people, Krishna says, okay, go take shelter of the Paramatma. But exactly after a few verses, he will say, then, Mam Ekam Sharanam Raja. Take shelter of me. So, at one place, he's saying, take shelter of Paramatma. At another place, he's saying, take shelter of me. So this is also again to tell the readers that he is that Paramatma and that Paramatma is him. So there are two, three reasons why Krishna is telling here in this manner. Okay, so let's read now the next verse, 63. Iti ite jnanamakhyatam guhyat guhyataram maya vimishyetad asheshena yathechasi tatha guru. Thus I have explained to you knowledge still more confidential. Iti te jnanam akhyatam guhyat guhyataram maya. In the subjects which are confidential, I have given you guhyatara. I have given you more confidential. So the knowledge of Paramatma is considered as guhyatara jnana. The knowledge of Atma is guhya jnana. The knowledge of Bhagavan is guhyatamam jnana. So, mm, this thing was something which I was actually thinking about last couple of days. Uh, when you move around in the world and see different kinds of people, their lifestyle, their philosophical understanding, their approach to religion, then you understand that though we find in India so many people who worship Krishna, still, if you look at the fraction of people in the whole planet who actually understand Krishna as Bhagavan is very, very, very tiny. What to speak of understanding Krishna as Bhagavan, the kind of people who understand that there is Atma inside, that is also such a small fraction. So therefore, the knowledge of soul is Guhya Gyan, confidential. There are many people out there who don't even have an iota of idea of this knowledge. They don't know anything about. Mm. And then Paramatma Gyan. And then there is Bhagavan Gyan, Bhagavad Gyan. So Krishna is saying, I am giving you this most confidential, more confidential than what I gave before. Most confidential will come soon after a few verses. So then he says, deliberate on this fully. So now you think about it. And then you do whatever you wish to do. So Krishna is kind of giving Arjuna free hand. Okay, no problem. I give this knowledge to you, but I will not bind you in any way. I'll not make you feel obliged towards me. There are no conditions. You are free. You decide what do you want to do. So this is how Krishna is, very detached, right? Uh, he is giving the knowledge. He's explaining the pros and cons of whatever Arjuna decides to do. And at the same time, he's not pushing Arjuna. Okay, you have to follow what I say, right? He's giving Arjuna that freedom. And that is very important point. We have to give freedom to people because bhakti cannot be forced upon anyone. That's why we don't really need to push people too much. Chant your rounds, read Prabhupada books, get up early in the morning, go to temple, do all that. If people want to do, fine. If they don't want to do, we just understand that they are not yet ready for it. Because it cannot happen by push. It can only happen voluntarily. And that voluntary execution of bhakti will happen when we are inspired. So inspiration doesn't come from push. Inspiration comes from change of heart. If that change of heart is not there, then inspiration will not be there. So that's what we should be looking for, the change of heart. And that's what we should be inspiring people towards, the change of heart. If that is done, then you don't have to be with a stick running after them. Become a devotee, become a devotee, become a devotee. Then they will want to be a devotee. And uh, for those who have developed that interest, they are fortunate. But they also have to maintain that interest. So that maintenance requires some efforts. I might be fortunate to come into Krishna consciousness, but I also have to remain fortunate. It's like someone gives you a gift, so you also have to preserve the gift. Otherwise, the gift may also get spoiled over time. So that preservation is very important. So that then is my personal effort, my personal endeavor. So Krishna is telling, I give you freedom. You decide. So Krishna is like that, detached, detached. God who is detached. You do what you wish to do. And also, Krishna is teaching something very important here that after all, it's your life. You take the call. What do you want to be? Where do you want to go? I can only show you direction. You have to decide because it's your life. You do something, you will face the consequences. You know. So Krishna is teaching that also, being responsible for our own decisions, which is a very difficult thing, in this world. Mostly people, they don't want to take responsibility for their decisions. In fact, it's most commonly seen that when you work in a team and anything goes wrong, then you are the first person to take a step back and say, actually, I was not a part of it. Don't blame me. The problem has happened because of someone else. So we immediately try to, step back from being held accountable. Yes, it's because of you that this problem has come. If things are going bad, it's because of you. So no one wants to accept that, no? We want to pass it on to someone else's shoulder. No, it's because of you. It's because of you. It's because of you. It's because of you. So Krishna is teaching that no, if your life is in a certain way, it's all because of you and nothing else, and no one else. Mhm. You make your decisions. So sometimes when people tell life is so difficult these days for me, I'm not able to do this, do that, my health is not going fine, and this problem, that problem. So who is there to be blamed? Who did what because of which one has landed in such a situation? It's it's you. No one else. Right. No one else. So Krishna is teaching that to Arjuna. You decide. Yatha ichhasi tatha kuru. You decide. And if you have any confusions or doubts, I will speak again. No problem. I can give you this message again. But you decide what do you wish to do. So this is one more interesting point can be taken from here. When we approach someone and we tell that person, especially our spiritual master, now I'm your disciple. I'm surrendered to you. Whatever you uh, think is good for me, you tell me. So the spiritual master will also check, are you really surrendered or you are just saying like that? You because it's sometimes easy to say. So are you really surrendered? So freedom is also given. Okay, now you decide what would you like to do in such a situation. So if we are still not surrendered, we will immediately jump at that opportunity. Oh, I got a choice. So let me exercise my freedom again, my independence again, because now I have a choice. I can act the way I like to act. Therefore, Krishna is also testing the pulse of Arjuna. What will Arjuna say now? What will be his answer? What will be his reply? So he said, you decide, whatever. What is your call? Hmm, do it. Purport. Let's read the purport. Priyanka Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
The Lord has
The
already
Lord is
explained to Arjuna the knowledge of Brahma Bhuta. One who is in the Brahma Bhuta condition is joyful. He never laments, nor does he desire anything. That is due to confidential knowledge. Krishna also discloses knowledge of the Super Soul. This is also Brahman knowledge, knowledge of Brahman, but it is superior. Here the words tathu- tathakuru, as you like, you may act, indicate that God does not interfere with the little independence of the living entity. In Bhagavad-Gita, the Lord has explained in all respects how one can elevate his living condition. The best advice imparted to Arjuna is to surrender onto the super soul seated within his heart. But by right discrimination, one should agree to act according to the order of the super soul. That will help one become situated constantly in Krishna consciousness. The highest, Prabhuji, can you scroll up? The highest perfectional stage of human life. Arjuna is being directly ordered by the personality of Godhead to fight. Surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is in the best interest of the living entities. It is not for the interest of the Supreme. Before surrendering, one is free to deliberate on this subject as far as the intelligence goes. That is the best way to accept the instruction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such instruction comes also through the spiritual master, the bona fide representative of Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. 64. सर्वगुह्यतमं भूयः शृणु मे परमं वचः इष्टोऽसि मे दृढम् इति ततो वक्ष्यामि ते हितम्. Because you are my very dear friend. So, here we can understand it in this way, the flow of the statements of Krishna and Arjuna. When Krishna told Arjuna, Arjuna, you deliberate on all that I have said, and then you come up with a decision of yours. So Arjuna might tell Krishna, uh, it's a lot to deliberate upon, you know, and to deliberate upon all that you said, karma yoga, jnana yoga, bhakti yoga, different stages of bhakti. It will not just take few moments, it will take few days. So how can you ask me to deliberate on all the verses that you spoke and come to a quick understanding? You know? For us also, we are studying Bhagavad-Gita for months, and still, if we ask the readers, please deliberate on this message and give us your conclusion. So you will also need some time. So Arjuna was spoken all this in just few minutes. And Krishna is telling, think about it all and come to a conclusion, a quick conclusion. So Arjuna says, I don't have so much time. I have to quickly come to a conclusion. So why don't you help me? You give me the conclusion. Rather than me deliberating on it and coming to a conclusion, you give me a quick conclusion, a quick final instruction. You know. So Krishna is going to do that. Okay, Arjuna. I told you so many things. But if you want to know the highest, the best, the most confidential, and what I'm expecting from you, then I'll tell you that. So then Krishna tells that in just two verses, 65 and 66. So here he's saying, because you are my very dear friend, I am speaking to you my supreme instruction, the most confidential knowledge of all. Hear this from me, for it is for your benefit. So very interesting. Yes, Aarti Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. The Lord has given Arjuna knowledge that is confidential, knowledge of Brahman, and still more confidential, knowledge of the super soul within everyone's heart. And now he is giving the most confidential part of knowledge. Just surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. At the end of the ninth chapter, he has said, Man mana, just always think of me. The same instruction is repeated here to stress the essence of the teachings of Bhagavad-Gita. This essence is not understood by a common man, but by one who is actually very dear to Krishna, a pure devotee of Krishna. This is the most important instruction in all Vedic literature. What Krishna is saying in this connection is the most essential part of knowledge, and it should be carried out not only by Arjuna but by all living entities. Thank you.
Manmana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mam iveshyasi satyam te pratijane priyosime. So this instruction is a repetition of what is said in 9.34. The first two lines are exactly the same. So Krishna says, okay, I summarize it for you. This is the summary. Manmana bhavamat bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Right? So this is the greatest secret, the most confidential. Manmana bhavamat bhakta. So you become my devotee. Right? And you surrender unto me, you think of me. When he says think of me, then it's very clear. He's saying think of me, the two-armed Krishna form. Don't think of Varaha, Narsingha, any other avatar, not even of Paramatma, not even of Vishwarupa. Just think of me in this form. Now, if you think of me in this form, then you come back to me in my eternal abode. Always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. Vadaini Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji Pranam. The most confidential part of knowledge is that one should become a pure devotee of Krishna, always think of him and act for him. One should not become an official meditator. Life should be so molded that one will always have the chance to think of Krishna. One should always act in such a way that all his daily activities are in connection with Krishna. He should arrange his life in such a way that throughout the 24 hours he cannot think but of Krishna. And the Lord's promise is that anyone who is in such pure Krishna consciousness will certainly return to the abode of Krishna, where he will be engaged in the association of Krishna face to face. This most confidential part of knowledge is spoken to Arjuna because he is the dear friend of Krishna. Everyone who follows the path of Arjuna can become a dear friend to Krishna and obtain the same perfection as Arjuna. These words stress that one should concentrate his mind upon Krishna, the very form with two hands carrying a flute, the bluish boy with a beautiful face and peacock feathers in his hair. There are descriptions of Krishna found in the Brahma Samhita and other literatures. One should fix his mind on this original form of Godhead, Krishna. One should not even divert his attention to other forms of the Lord. The Lord has multi forms as Vishnu, Narayana, Rama, Varaha, etc. But a devotee should concentrate his mind on the form that was present before Arjuna. Concentration of the mind on the form of Krishna constitutes the most confidential part of knowledge, and this is disclosed to Arjuna because Arjuna is the most dear friend of Krishna's. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Next verse. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tam sarvapapebhyo muksheshyami ma suchaha. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. So here the word dharma has many explanations. Sarvadharman parityajya. Krishna is saying give up all religions. So when we translate it as religion, of course, it can mean the worldly religions, which are Islam, Christianity, Hinduism. So these are worldly religions. Sometimes religion can only become a means of greater material prosperity and enjoyment. So if religion tends towards that direction, that it is only meant to increase material prosperity and material enjoyment, material well-being, then it is called a worldly religion. It is not called transcendental religion. So when religion gives only artha and kama, right? So it's then that religion is worldly in nature, mundane. So Krishna is saying, give up all such religions, uh, which means you take shelter of transcendental religion, right? So that is one meaning, which is Sanatan Dharma, soul, Dharma of the soul, render service to Bhagavan. And also religion here refers to, or the word Dharma here refers to duty. We have multiple duties in life. Duty as a parent, as a child, as a husband, as a wife, as a student, as a teacher, as this, as that. So Krishna is saying Sarva Dharman Parityaja. So he means to say give up all your duties. No obligations towards anyone. Just only one obligation, and that obligation is towards me. So that is called Ananyata in surrender, exclusive surrender. So abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. Mam ekam sharanam braja. If you do that, Arjuna, I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Hmm. So if you surrender to me, then you are free from all sins, because whatever you do will not be karma. It will become a karma, which we have discussed before in chapter 3, 4, 5. So you do not fear that if I am promising this to you, and still there might be some mishap and you may have to suffer. No, don't fear. You just surrender unto me, and I shall deliver you. So this instruction of Krishna is calling for a leap of faith. Huge amount of faith is required. Oh yes, Krishna is there. He will protect. So it requires a huge amount of faith. If I surrender everything and go to Krishna, then Krishna will not disappoint me, right? So that faith can be only shown by people who are completely pure. Otherwise, very difficult to show that much faith. Purport, Varshana Leela Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Purport. The Lord has described various kinds of knowledge and process of religion. Knowledge of the Supreme Brahman, knowledge of Supersoul, knowledge of the different types of orders and statuses of social life, knowledge of the renounced order of life, knowledge of non-attachment, sense and mind control, meditation, etc. He has described in so many ways different type of religion. Now in summarizing Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that Arjuna should give up all the processes that has been explained to him. He should simply surrender to Krishna. That surrender will save him from all kinds of sinful reactions, for the Lord personally promises to protect him. In the 7th chapter, it was said that only one who has become free from all sinful reactions can take to the worship of Lord Krishna. Thus, one may think that unless he is free from all sinful reactions, he cannot take to the surrendering process. To such doubt, it is here said that even if one is not free from all sinful reactions, simply by the process of surrendering to Sri Krishna, he is automatically freed. There is no need of strenuous effort to free oneself from the sinful reactions. One should unhesitatingly accept Krishna as the supreme savior of all living entities. With faith and love, one should surrender unto him. The process of surrender to Krishna is described in the Hari Bhakti Vilas 11.676. Anukulyasya sankalpa pratikulyasya varjanam rakshishyati visheshvaso goprevate varanam tatha atma nikshepa karpanya shadavida sharanagati. According to the devotional process, one should simply accept such religious principle that will lead ultimately to the devotional service of the Lord. One may perform a particular occupational duty according to his position in the social order, but if by executing his duty one does not come to the point of Krishna consciousness, all his activities are in vain. Anything that does not lead to the perfectional stage of Krishna consciousness should be avoided. One should be confident that in all circumstances, Krishna will protect him from all difficulties. There is no need of thinking how one should keep the body and soul together. Krishna will see to that. One should always think himself helpless and should consider Krishna the only basis for his progress in life. As soon as one seriously engages himself in devotional service to the Lord in full Krishna consciousness, at once he becomes freed from all contamination of material nature. There are different processes of religion and purificatory processes by cultivation of knowledge, meditation in the mystic yoga system, etc. But one who surrenders unto Krishna does not have to execute so many methods. That simple surrender unto Krishna will save him from unnecessarily wasting time. One can thus make all progress at once and be freed from all sinful reaction. One should be attracted by the beautiful vision of Krishna. His name is Krishna because he is all attractive. One who becomes attracted by the beautiful, all-powerful, omnipotent vision of Krishna is fortunate. There are different kinds of transcendentalists. Some of them are attached to the impersonal Brahman vision. Some of them are attached by the supersoul feature, etc. But one who is attracted to the personal feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and above all, one who is attracted by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as Krishna himself, is a most perfect transcendentalist. In the other words, devotional service to Krishna in full consciousness is the most confidential part of knowledge, and this is the essence of the whole Bhagavad-Gita. Karma yogis, empiric philosophers, mystics, and devotees are all called transcendentalists. But one who is a pure devotee is the best of all. The particular words used here, masucha, do not fear, don't hesitate, don't worry, are very significant. One may be perplexed as to how one can give up all kinds of religious forms and simply surrender unto Krishna. But such worry is useless. Thanks so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
It's fine. So here in this purport, Srila Prabhupada, he talks about Sharanagati. So this is very interesting analysis done by Srila Rupa Goswami, also Sanatan Goswami. So they are telling us that Sharanagati or surrender is not just some vague concept. It's not just some emotional shift of the heart, but they are distinct characteristics of it to be found in a person who is surrendered. And what are those characteristics? The 6 characteristics of surrender. Anukulyasya sankalpa, pratikulyasya varjanam. The first 2 characteristics are, if I am surrendered to Krishna, then I'll accept only those things in life which are favorable to bhakti. And I'll reject all those things which are unfavorable. Right? So, like it's easily said than done. I am surrendered. But then if I am surrendered, then these are the characteristics which should be there in me. So first is I'm surrendered. That means I only accept things which are favorable for bhakti. If it's not favorable, then I don't accept. So that's first thing about surrender. Then I have this strong faith that Krishna will protect me. Rakshishit Vishwaso. I have this faith. Rakshishyatiti Vishwaso. So um, having faith in Krishna also means to not always look for security in everything that we do, to sometimes also depend on Krishna, exercising dependence. So that can uh, tell us how much faith we have in Krishna's protection. If we make all the arrangements for our safety and security, and then where is the question of faith in Krishna's protection? Of course, in this world, how much ever secure and safe you may feel, the nature's arrangements can turn peaceful situations in life into most chaotic situations. And all experience of security can turn into great, turmoils of fear. So that is the nature of this world. But still, we are always trying our best of looking forward in life to see what all problems can come and then trying to solve them before they come. We want to be prepared, right? We want to be prepared for the future. So if this problem comes, I have this solution. If that problem comes, I have that solution. If this happens, then that. But in that case, we forget to do one thing, which is depend on Krishna, right? And the problem is also not solved if we don't depend on Krishna and think I will solve all my problems. Still, Maya will trick us into a situation where we'll be helpless. I can't solve my own problems, even if I try my best. It's not going to end. So it's not that one can be very smart and one can find out all the solutions to all the problems in life. So better what is being said here is you depend on Krishna. Okay, Krishna will take care. Krishna will provide. I need to depend on Krishna. So that is to be cultivated. Uh, but if our heart is sick with fear, then this thing cannot happen. We cannot have such courage, such boldness in accepting life. Then it will be like, okay, I plan everything, micromanage my things, everything. This is how it should be. That's how it should be, right? So Rakshishitya Vishwa. So you have faith that Krishna will protect. Goptritve Varanam Tatha. Goptritve Varanam Tatha. And Krishna will also provide, not just protect, he'll provide. He'll maintain me. Ah, Krishna will see to that. So I shall see to what Krishna needs to be done by me, and Krishna shall see to my needs and necessities. So this is a very interesting relationship between devotee and Krishna. That I think about what will make Krishna happy, and Krishna will think about what I need in life. Right? So that is what relationship means. If two people are coming together in a relationship and both of them are playing safe. Playing safe means there is no dependence on each other. I do my everything, you do your everything. Then that relationship cannot become very thick because relationship means there has to be dependence. No. So mm, this thing is something which people nowadays are forgetting, um, especially the young generation now. They want to be in a relationship, at the same time they want to be unaccountable. They don't want to get into it too much. And so it's called playing safe. I want to play safe in relationship, right? But if you play safe in relationship, then you don't enter deep into the relationship. Then you're only at the surface. You know? And very interestingly, this is why people feel so empty within, because relationships are very shallow. Hmm. Relationships are very shallow. So that's why there's emptiness, satisfaction is not there. So the reason is there is not much dependence. Uh, but here we see devotee is fully depending on Krishna. I will do what you want me to do. What about me? My things, my necessities, my needs, that you take care of. For that, I will not worry. That is your problem. So then, okay, I do my part, you have your part. Isn't it? Correct. So that makes it very satisfying, and there is also a sense of competition. Devotee serving Krishna, Krishna serving devotee, devotee serving Krishna, Krishna serving devotee. So there's give and take, and this give and take keeps the relationship alive. If there's no give and take, then the relationship is not sweet. Of course, that give and take is not done in a business manner, but it is done out of heart, you know, to make the other person happy. So Krishna, here we are learning that we have to also have such kind of dependence on Krishna. Krishna will see to that. So think about your life, whatever you are going through in your Krishna consciousness. How many times do you actually depend on Krishna? Okay, let us leave it on Krishna. Let me not use too much of my head. I just leave it on Krishna. Have a simple faith on Krishna. Krishna is Bhagavan and he exists. And I'm chanting his name. So he will help me, he'll protect me. Why I should use too much of my management head, engineering head, scientist head, doctor head, or different kinds of heads we have. So I should not use all those heads. I should just simply depend on Krishna. So how many times we really think like that in situations in life? Okay, let's depend on Krishna. Let's see what will happen next. So that will show, yes, I have surrendered to Krishna, I've surrendered. So we should read Prabhupada's life, the final days. I mentioned about that book earlier also. So it is very uh, vividly showing how Srila Prabhupada, though, you know, let's sometimes when we look at such personalities, we try to look at them uh, with this awe. Oh, they are so great. So, what is so special about Desh exhibiting such qualities, such temperament? I mean, that's their element. That's how they are. But let us try to see them as humans, just for understanding. So, Srila Prabhupada, if you look at his achievement, what he achieved in the last 11 years of his life was monumental. It was not an ordinary achievement, you know. I mean, if you don't know what it is, sometimes you should go and watch videos of those days, how Prabhupada influenced people and how people were so surrendered to him. It was something like remarkable, amazing. In 11 years, he started a worldwide movement, so many centers, so much of money, so much of respect he was getting from, people all over the world. Uh, and and yet, yet he's not at all affected by all that. He's still fixed in that simple truth. What is that? What will happen tomorrow? Krishna knows. Let me just leave it for Krishna. Not that now I'm such a big acharya, I have thousands of disciples, I have so much money, I have so many resources. So now I am also someone, no? I can also use my strategy, my planning, my intelligence for doing things. Of course, he would do all that, but at the same time, at the end of the day, his main dependence is on that foundation. What is that? Krishna is supreme controller. We are very tiny. And we should just wait to watch what is Krishna's plan and go ahead with Krishna's plan. So that simple truth, it did not escape Prabhupada's consciousness, even after achieving such success, huge success. No, it didn't go away from his consciousness. So that is called surrender, fully depending on Krishna. And then two more. What are they? Atma Nikshepa. So one surrenders everything: body, mind, intelligence, soul, money, everything to Krishna. And Karpanye, at the same time, one is very humble. One thinks himself very, very insignificant. So these are the symptoms of surrender to Bhagavan. So if one cultivates these symptoms or exhibits these symptoms, then we can say, yes, he or she is surrendered to Krishna. Mm, right? That is called surrender. Fine. All right. So we go to next verse. Before we go there, let's complete the verse. Then we'll take question answers at the end. 67. Idam te na tapaskaya na bhaktaya kadachana na cha na cha ashushrushave vachyam na cha mam yobhyasuyati. So Krishna now tells to Arjuna, this confidential knowledge may never be explained to those who are not austere or devoted or engaged in devotional service, not to one who is envious of me. So this is given in almost all scriptures. It's called eligibility to study the scripture. Qualification. So Krishna is telling here, Adhikar, who is qualified to study this, knowledge. So he says it should not be given to those who are not austere or devoted or engaged in bhakti or to those who are envious of me, because they will become more envious of Krishna. If we envy someone and we hear about that person's greatness, the envy increases, right? Then we become more envious. So if someone envies Krishna and hears Krishna's greatness, the envy is going to increase. That will become basically, a greater damage to his life, his consciousness. So therefore, Krishna says, if someone is envious of me, okay, that person should not read all this, hear all this. It's going to make them more degraded in their consciousness because they will doubt. They will say, oh, what is this? Why is Krishna speaking like that? This is too much. So then that will only cause them downfall in consciousness, degradation. So this confidential knowledge may never be explained to those who are not austere or devoted. And this is one more reason why when we study scriptures, we should not just study any scripture, because if we don't have adhikar towards understanding that scripture, we may commit offense. And their offense will only become a downfall, and will lead to a downfall in our consciousness. Mm. So, therefore, scriptures, you cannot be a keen, enthusiastic person just exploring scriptures one after another, reading them, because if you don't read them with faith or accept them with faith, and you have this doubting mentality, then this is seen as a as an offensive mentality. you know. So it only increases one's material sickness or disease. Therefore, we have to be very careful about studying scriptures. We should know our capacity, our level, and then understand or read or study, sections of scriptures and what we can digest, right? So this confidential knowledge may never be explained to those who are not austere or devoted or engaged in devotional service, nor to one who is envious of me. Prabhupada. But Prabhupada says, still we go and give this knowledge to everyone. We take a risk. So that's the compassion of devotees. Chanakya Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhupada. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Persons who have not undergone the austerities of the religious process, who have never attempted devotional service in Krishna consciousness, who have not tended a pure devotee, and especially those who are conscious of Krishna only as a historical personality, or who are envious of the greatness of Krishna, should not be told this most confidential part of knowledge. It is, however, sometimes found that even demoniac persons who are envious of Krishna, worshipping Krishna in a different way, take to the profession of explaining Bhagavad-Gita in a different way to make business. But anyone who desires actually to understand Krishna must avoid such commentaries on Bhagavad-Gita. Actually, the purpose of Bhagavad-Gita is not understandable to those who are sensuous. Even if one is not sensuous, but is strictly following the disciplines enjoined in the Vedic scripture, if he is not a devotee, he also cannot understand Krishna. And even when one poses himself as a devotee of Krishna, but is not engaged in Krishna conscious activities, he also cannot understand Krishna. There are many persons who envy Krishna because he has explained in Bhagavad Gita that he is the supreme and that nothing is above him or equal to him. There are many persons who are envious of Krishna. Such persons should not be told of Bhagavad Gita, for they cannot understand. There is no possibility of faithless persons understanding Bhagavad Gita and Krishna. Without understanding Krishna from the authority of a pure devotee, one should not try to comment upon Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna.
Yes, so many people, they have done uh, disservice to human society by studying Gita, though they were not qualified for it, and writing wrong commentaries on it. And in this way, confusing people about the real message of Bhagavad Gita. So, yeah, especially scriptures in India, Vedic scriptures, somehow the people have understood this over the years, that anyone can poke his or her nose in the Vedic scriptures, read them, and then come to a conclusion. And they forgot that scriptures have to be studied under a guru. You can't just poke your nose into it and try to start analyzing it, what it means, what you can get out of it. It has to be studied from a guru. Then we understand it properly. Otherwise, we miss the essence of it. You know. So the knowledge which is received in tradition, that knowledge is not just received as information, but with that knowledge, the right attitude is also received. So with the transmission of knowledge, there is also transmission of attitude. And when we talk about learning it from a parampara, so it doesn't just mean learning the information. It also means imbibing the attitude, you know. So when we say, okay, I accept such person as guru, I accept this person as my Siksha Guru. I accept this person as my Diksha Guru. I'm connected to this parampara. So it doesn't just mean I have that, I have those I have that set of information which they are passing on. That's not all. It also means the culture that they are passing on. It also means the mood that they are passing on, the attitude they are passing on, the value system that they are passing on. So to become a disciple or to accept a guru doesn't just mean go and sit in the class and listen to the lecture, make some points, some notes, and okay, you are my guru. Accepting someone as a guru means you accept the tradition, the culture, the value system, the attitude of that person. You know, you treasure what that person treasures. That's what accepting someone as a guru means. Not that, okay, I just like the philosophy. I like that person's thinking. No, also, what is the culture? So Srila Prabhupada, he went to West America. He did not just make people students of Bhagavad-Gita. No, he made people who would dress like him, eat like him, think like him, desire like him, right? So all those things were passed on by Srila Prabhupada. And that's what really means to accept someone as a guru. Not that I have my lifestyle, I have my way of living, my way of earning money, my way of doing things, and yet he is my guru or she is my guru. That is not what accepting a person as guru means, right? So here it is being said that Bhagavad Gita should not be accepted in that manner. Hmm. Should be accepted completely as a package of so many things. Next verse. Ya idam paramam guhyam madbhakteshu abhidhasyati bhaktimai param kritva mami vashyati sanshayah. For one who explains this supreme secret to the devotees, pure devotional service is guaranteed. And at the end, he will come back to me. So now Krishna gives us different benefits of studying Bhagavad Gita. He says one is if you explain this knowledge to other devotees, then you will get pure devotional service. And you will come back to, or you will go back to Krishna. So that is the advantage of spreading the message of Bhagavad Gita around. Sanjay Prabhuji, please read.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Generally, it is advised that Bhagavad Gita be discussed among the devotees only. For those who are not devotees will understand neither Krishna nor Bhagavad Gita. Those who do not accept Krishna as he is and Bhagavad Gita as it is should not try to explain Bhagavad Gita whimsically and become offenders. Bhagavad Gita should be explained to persons who are ready to accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is a subject matter for the devotees only and not for philosophical speculators. Anyone, however, who tries sincerely to present Bhagavad Gita as it is will advance in devotional activities and reach the pure devotional state of life. As a result of such pure devotion, is sure to go back home, back to Godhead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Next. Na cha tasman manushesho kaschin me priyakritamaha bhavita na cha me tasman anyaha priyataro bhuvi. There is no servant in this world more dear to me than him. nor will there ever be one more dear. So Krishna is telling for those people who give this teaching to devotees, there's no one more dear to me than him, and will not be. So we can only imagine how dear Srila Prabhupada must be to Krishna, because he gave Bhagavad-Gita to the entire planet. Bhagavad-Gita as it is, and millions of people reading Bhagavad-Gita on the earth today. It's because of Srila Prabhupada. Millions of people. And not just today, for so many years in the past and for so many years coming in the future. They are going to read Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita. So how dear Prabhupada is to Krishna, hmm, because of this amazing service that he has done. There is no servant in this world more dear to me than he, nor will there ever be one more dear, right? So that's why we say Jai Prabhupada. He is so dear to Krishna. Next. Adhyeshyate chaya imam dharmyam samvadam avayoho jnana tenaham ishtah syamiti me matihi. And I declare that who studies this sacred conversation of ours worships me by his intelligence. So those who study, they also are worshipping Krishna by intelligence. So studying is also beneficial, right? And then next, 71. श्रद्धावाननसूयश्च शृणुयादपि यो नरः सोऽपि मुक्तः शुभालोकान् प्राप्नुयात् पुण्यकर्मणाम्. And one who listens with faith and without envy becomes free from sinful reactions. So one who does not study, but at least listens, just listens with faith and without envy. So that person immediately becomes free from sinful reactions. So one goes to Ganga, takes bath to become free from sin. And one can also similarly just sit in one place, hear Bhagavad Gita with faith and become free from sin. Right? This is more easy. And attains to the auspicious planets where the pious dwell. That is the benefit of hearing with faith. Let's read this purport. Avesina Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam. In the 67th verse of this chapter, the Lord explicitly forbade the Gita's been spoken to those who are envious of the Lord. In other words, Bhagavad Gita is for the devotees only. But it so happens that sometimes a devotee of the Lord will hold open class, and in that class, not all the students are expected to be devotees. Why do such persons hold open class? It is explained here that although not everyone is a devotee, there are many men who are not envious of Krishna. They have faith in him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If such persons hear from a bona fide devotee about the Lord, the result is that they become at once free from all sinful reactions, and after that attain to the planetary system where all righteous persons are situated. Therefore, simply by hearing Bhagavad Gita, even a person who does not try to be a pure devotee attains the result of righteous activities. Thus, a pure devotee of the Lord gives everyone a chance to become free from all sinful reactions and to become a devotee of the Lord. Generally, those who are free from sinful reactions, those who are righteous, very easily take to Krishna consciousness. The word punya karmana is very significant here. This refers to the performance of great sacrifices like the Ashwamedha Yagna mentioned in the Vedic literature. Those who are righteous in performing devotional service but who are not pure can attain the planetary system of the pole star or Dhruvalok where Dhruv Maharaj is presiding. He is a great devotee of the Lord and he has a special planet which is called the pole star. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Right. Okay. 72. Kacchidetat partha tvayikagrena chetasa kachidajnana sammoha pranashtaste Dhananjaya. O son of Pritha, O conqueror of wealth, have you heard this with an attentive mind? So Krishna is telling Arjuna, asking, checking with him. Have you heard properly, attentively? So Arjuna, if he says yes, then Krishna is asking another question. So if you really heard attentively, is your ignorance gone? Are your illusions now dispelled? So that's to help us understand. If I read Gita attentively, I heard it attentively, then it will remove my ignorance. Ajnana will go away, right? And illusion will also be dispelled. So if illusion is still there, ajnana is still there, that means I did not hear attentively. I should hear again. Hmm. So we keep on studying. That's why the same books again and again, because still there's lacking in us the complete realization of the subject matter. So we have to again and again read or hear, not only once. Okay, I'm done with Bhakti-sastri, I'm done with Bhagavad-Gita, right? Now we have to read and study again and again. So have you heard this with an attentive mind? Is the ignorance and illusion gone? Purport. Tulasi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu pranams. The Lord was acting as the spiritual master of Arjuna. Therefore, it was his duty to inquire from Arjuna whether he understood the whole Bhagavad Gita in its proper perspective. If not, the Lord was ready to re-explain any point, or the whole Bhagavad Gita if so required. Actually, anyone who hears Bhagavad Gita from a bona fide spiritual master like Krishna or his representative will find that all his ignorance is dispelled. Bhagavad Gita is not an ordinary book written by a poet or fiction writer. It is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Any person fortunate enough to hear these teachings from Krishna or his bona fide spiritual representative is sure to become a liberated person and get out of darkness of ignorance. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Next. Arjuna Vacha Nashta Moha Smriti Lapta Tat Prasadan Mayachyuta Sitosmi Gata Sandeha Tarishi Vachanam Tava. Arjuna said, my dear Krishna, O infallible one, my illusion is now gone. I have regained my memory by your mercy. I am now firm and free from doubt, and I am prepared to act according to your instructions. So he says, yes, ignorance gone, illusion gone. I have become fixed again in knowledge. Now I know who am I and what am I supposed to do, free from doubt. And karishe vachanam tava, I'll do what you say. I'm ready. I'm ready to follow your command. So that's called hearing the message of Gita. So when we hear the message of Gita or Bhagavatam, if actually we have heard it properly, there's transformation of the heart. And that transformation becomes visible externally with a greater spirit of obedience to Krishna and Guru. So hearing that's why important, hearing properly. If we hear properly, then the enthusiasm to practice bhakti, the enthusiasm to serve Krishna, the enthusiasm to be surrendered to spiritual master, to be humble servants of Vaishnavas, this enthusiasm will get renewed, nourished. Otherwise, this enthusiasm will diminish. So if we hear properly, then we become strong again in determination. yes, I should give up illusory identities of mine. Rather, I should be fixed in this identity that I am only a servant of Hari, Guru, and Vaishnavas, right? So that enlivenment comes if we hear properly. After hearing, if we still feel lazy in bhakti, very like you can say weak, unenthusiastic, passive, that means we have not heard attentively. We have not heard properly. If you take the medicine must cure the disease. If not, that means the medicine is either not proper or I'm not taking it properly. So similarly, if we hear Krishna Katha, then it should give us spiritual inspiration. It should inspire us. If it doesn't inspire us, that means I'm not hearing properly. I'm not letting the message penetrate the heart. That means no effect. So Arjuna says, yes, I heard you, and because of that, now I'm prepared to follow your command, which means there is surrender. There is obedience. Yes, I'll do what you say. Right? Purport, Sharada Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. The constitutional position of a living entity represented by Arjuna is that he has to act according to the order of the Supreme Lord. He is meant for self discipline. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that the actual position of the living entity is that of the eternal servant of the Supreme Lord. Forgetting this principle, the living entity has become conditioned by material nature, but in serving the Supreme Lord, he becomes liberated servant of God. The living entity's constitutional position is to be a servitor. He has to serve either illusory Maya or the Supreme Lord. If he serves the Supreme Lord, he is in his normal condition. But if he prefers to serve illusory external energy, then certainly he will be in bondage. In illusion, the living entity is serving in this material world. He is bound by his lust and desires, yet he thinks of himself as the master of the world. This is called illusion. When a person is liberated, his illusion is over and he voluntarily surrenders unto the Supreme to act according to his desires. The last illusion, the last snare of Maya, is to trap the living entity, is the proposition that he is God. The living entity thinks that he is no longer a conditioned soul, but God. He is so unintelligent that he does not think that if he, Prabhuji, if you could scroll down. He is bound by his lust and desires, yet he thinks of himself that he is the master of the world. This is called illusion. When a person is liberated, his illusion is over, and he voluntarily surrenders unto the Supreme to act according to his desires. The last illusion, the last snare of Maya, is the proposition that he is God. The living entity thinks he is no longer a conditioned soul, but God. He is so unintelligent that he does not think that if he were God, then how could he be in doubt? That he does not consider. So that is the last snare of illusion. Actually, to become free from illusory energy is to understand Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and agree to act according to his order. The word moha is very important in this verse. Moha refers to that which is opposed to knowledge. Actually, real knowledge is the understanding that every living being is eternally a servitor of the Lord. But instead of thinking oneself in that position, the living entity thinks that he is not a servant, that he is the master of everything in this material world. Prabhuji, if you can, yeah. Or if he wants to lord over it, over the material nature, that is his illusion. This illusion can be overcome by the mercy of the Lord or by the mercy of a pure devotee. When that illusion is over, one agrees to act in Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is acting according to Krishna's order. A conditioned soul, illusioned by external energy of matter, does not know that the Supreme Lord is the Master, who is full of knowledge and who is the proprietor of everything. Whatever he desires, he can bestow upon his devotees. He is the friend of everyone. He is especially inclined to his devotees. He is a controller of this material nature and of all living entities. He is also the controller of inexhaustible time, and he is full of all opulences and all potencies. The Supreme Personality of Godhead can even give himself to the devotee. One who does not know him is under the spell of illusion. He does not become a devotee but a servitor of Maya. Arjuna, however, after hearing Bhagavad Gita from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, became free from illusion. He could understand that Krishna was not only his friend but the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he understood Krishna factually. So, to study the Bhagavad Gita is to. Prabhuji, if you could scroll down. To study the Bhagavad Gita is to understand Krishna factually. When a person is in full knowledge, he naturally surrenders to Krishna. When Arjuna understood that it was Krishna's plan to reduce the unnecessary increase of population, he agreed to fight according to Krishna's desire. He again took up his weapons, his arrows and bow, and to fight under the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so that's where the dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna ends at verse 73. And what follows 74, 75, 6, 7, and 8, 5 verses are Sanjaya's conclusion, the winding up of Bhagavad Gita. So here Sanjaya will then give his feedback. He also heard the Gita, right? So he will say what is his experience, what is his realization. Very important section. Srila Vishwanath Thakur says that from here we understand how should a devotee be studying Bhagavad Gita or accepting Bhagavad Gita. The temperament of Sanjaya is showing that very beautifully. So Bhagavad Gita, it should be studied, it should be understood, then it should be applied in life by practical surrender to Bhagavan, right? And then we should follow Krishna's direction. What should we do for Krishna? And that is the success of studying Bhagavad Gita. So let's look at Sanjaya's realization. Sanjaya Uvacha Iti Aham Vasudevasya Parthasya cha Mahatmanaha Samvadamimam Ashrosham Adbhutam Romaharshana. Says, I heard this, thus I have heard, or have I heard the conversation of two great souls, Krishna and Arjuna. And so wonderful is this message, is that message. My hair is standing on end. So he's so enlivened by this message. He's happy, he's blissful. His hairs are all standing on end. Our hairs are not standing on end, right? No, not standing on end. Because we have not heard it properly or understood it properly. So Sanjay said, my hairs are standing on end. Because I'm amazed by this knowledge. So two great souls talking to each other. Purport. Let's read this purport. Sankarshan Vishnu Prabhuji.
In the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, Dhritarashtra inquired from his secretary Sanjaya, what happened on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. The entire study was related to the heart of Sanjaya by this grace of his spiritual master, Vyasa. He thus explained the theme of the battlefield. The conversation was wonderful because such an important conversation between two great souls had never taken place before and would not take place again. It was wonderful because the Supreme Personality of Godhead was speaking about himself and his energies to the living entity. Arjun, a great devotee of the Lord. If we follow in the footsteps of Arjun to understand Krishna, then our life will be happy and successful. Sanjaya realized this, and as he began to understand it, he related the conversation to to Dhritarashtra. Now it is concluded that whatever there is Krishna, now it is concluded that wherever there is Krishna and Arjun, there is a victory.
Next, verse 75. व्यासप्रसादात् श्रुतवान् एतद् गुह्यमहं परम् योगं योगेश्वरात् कृष्णात् साक्षात् कथयतः स्वयं. So when Sanjaya first of all expresses his joy, and I heard this beautiful message. So in that experience of joy or happiness, he doesn't forget to say thank you to Vyasadeva, his spiritual master or his guru. So he's saying, no, if I heard this, I heard it because of the mercy of Vyasadeva. He gave me the vision to see everything, to hear everything. So in the moments of happiness, he remembered his spiritual master. Right? That's important. We should be grateful. Grateful means we should always remember what has been done to us, for us by people, and because of which we are enjoying what we are enjoying. So that is very good quality. Those who are demoniac in nature, they lack gratitude. They forget very quickly. They forget what good has been done to them by someone. But those who are divine, they remember, and that's why they are always internally absorbed in thanking, such personalities who have come across their life and helped them in whatever ways. So Sanjay is not just here lost in excitement or jubilation. He is also grounded in gratitude that if I was fortunate to hear this conversation, the credit is not mine. The credit goes to Vyasadeva. Because of his mercy, I am getting this. Etat guhyam aham param yogam yogeshwarat krishnat sakshat kathayatah swayam. Right. So by the mercy of Vyasa, I have heard these most confidential talks directly from the master of all mysticism, Krishna, who was speaking personally to Arjuna. So he said, I'm so fortunate. I heard it directly from Krishna. Right. Private, it's like private coaching session, no? Private counseling, private counseling from Bhagavan. It's very precious, one-to-one conversation. So he's saying, I'm very fortunate, I'm blessed that I got this chance. Dinanath Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Vyasa was the spiritual master of Sanjaya, and Sanjaya admits that it was by Vyasa's mercy that he could understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This means that one has to understand Krishna not directly, but through the medium of the spiritual master. The spiritual master is a transparent medium, although it is true that the experience is still direct. This is the mystery of the disciplic succession. When the spiritual master is bona fide, then one can hear Bhagavad-Gita directly, as Arjuna heard it. There are many mystics and yogis all over the world, but Krishna is the master of all yoga systems. Krishna's instruction is explicitly stated in Bhagavad Gita: surrender unto Krishna. One who does so is the topmost yogi. This is confirmed in the last verse of the 6th chapter, Yoginam api sarvesham. Narada is the direct disciple of Krishna and the spiritual master of Vyasa. Therefore, Vyasa is as bona fide as Arjuna because he comes in the disciplic succession, and Sanjaya is the direct disciple of Vyasa. Therefore, by the grace of Vyasa, Sanjaya's senses were purified and he could see and hear Krishna directly. One who directly hears Krishna can understand this confidential knowledge. If one does not come to the disciplic succession, he cannot hear Krishna. Therefore, his knowledge is always imperfect, at least as far as understanding Bhagavad Gita is concerned. In Bhagavad Gita, all the yoga systems, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga, are explained. Krishna is the master of all such mysticism. It is to be understood, however, that as Arjuna was fortunate enough to understand Krishna directly, so by the grace of Vyasa, Sanjaya was also able to hear Krishna directly. Actually, there is no difference between hearing directly from Krishna and hearing directly from Krishna via a bona fide spiritual master like Vyasa. The spiritual master is the representative of Vyasadeva also. Therefore, according to Vedic system, on the birthday of the spiritual master, the disciples conduct the ceremony called Vyasa Puja. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Next. Rajan Sansmritya Samvadamimam Adbhutam Keshavajunayo Punyam Hishyami Cha Muhurmuhu. O king, as I repeatedly recall this wondrous and holy dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna, I take pleasure. Saying I'm not just happy hearing it once. I am very happy hearing it again and again. I recall it. Oh, Krishna said like this. Arjuna, he asked this question. Such amazing was the reply of Krishna. So he was rejoicing at that dialogue of Krishna. Arjuna. So wonderful, so nice. So if you like something, then your mind goes to it again and again. It likes to, you know, remain on that experience because it finds some satisfaction in that. So when some things are appreciated by us, actually appreciated by us, then your mind remains on it. If it is not appreciated by us, then our mind finds it very difficult to stay on it. Our mind quickly jumps to something else, isn't it? So to stay on it means you are engrossed in it. So that's why uh, this is very important for us to understand how much engrossed we are in bhakti will show or will tell how much we appreciate bhakti. Very simple. How much engrossed we are when we chant the holy names. How much engrossed we are when we are looking at the deities. How much engrossed we are when we are hearing Krishna Katha. That will tell how much if we appreciate it. You know, the degree of appreciation depends on the degree of absorption. So he's so absorbed, his mind is going back to it again and again. Oh, this is so wonderful. Such nice dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna. So this appreciation, wonderful appreciation. Purport. Sarveshwar Jagannath Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. The understanding of Bhagavad Gita is so transcendental that anyone who becomes conversant with the topic of Arjuna and Krishna become righteous and he cannot forget such talks. This is transcendental position of spiritual life. In other words, one who hears the Gita from the right source, directly from Krishna, attains full Krishna consciousness. The result of Krishna consciousness is that one becomes increasingly enlightened and he enjoys life with a thrill, not only for some time, but for every moment. Hare Krishna.
Next. So this is last line is nice, very nice. For the result of Krishna consciousness is that one becomes increasingly enlightened and he enjoys life with a thrill, not only for some moment, but at every moment. You can sense the spirit of adventure in this last line. It's very adventurous, right? Sense of thrill. So Prabhupada is writing it from his experience. He must be having that thrilling experience. That's why he's writing it like that. If you become a devotee, then your life is full of thrills. Not for some time, but at every moment. It means life becomes very adventurous as a devotee. Otherwise, life is very boring. Very boring. And to add adventure into it, then we have to do all those things like going to a party, shopping. Otherwise, it's plain, plain flavor, nothing interesting into it. So why people they do so much shopping these days? To make things, to make life look new. Otherwise, same thing, everything same. So keep on buying new things, new restaurants, new food, new clothes, new this, new that, so that life looks little colorful. Otherwise, it's black and white. But for those who are actually practicing bhakti, life is always colorful. Tatsha sangsmritya rupam ati adbhutam hare vismayo me mahan rajan hishyami cha puna puna. O king, as I remember the wonderful form of Lord Krishna, I am struck with wonder more and more, and I rejoice again and again. So again and again I rejoice. Vardhani Mataji. You read Vardhani Mataji? No.
Yes, Prabhuji. We have a lead again. It appears that Sanjaya, also by the grace of Vyasa, see the universal form Krishna exhibited to Arjuna. It is, of course, said that Lord Krishna had never exhibited such a form before. It was exhibited to Arjuna only, yet some great devotees could also see the universal form of Krishna when it was shown to Arjuna, and Vyasa was one of them. He is one of the great devotees of the Lord, and he is considered to be a powerful incarnation of Krishna. Vyasa disclosed this to his disciple Sanjaya, who remembered that wonderful form of Krishna exhibited to Arjuna and enjoyed it repeatedly. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Last verse. Yatra yogeshwarah Krishno yatra partho dhanurdharaha tatra shrir vijayo bhutir rvani tirmatir mama. Wherever there is Krishna, the master of all mystics, wherever there is Arjuna, the supreme elixir, there will also be certainly be opulence, victory, extraordinary power, and morality. So wherever there is Krishna and Krishna's pure devotee, so there is success, there is opulence, there is extraordinary power. Extraordinary power means what we cannot generally do, that thing becomes doable, which means something you can say humanly impossible becomes possible. That's called extraordinary power. Therefore, when Sri Atal Bihari Vajpayee, you heard this name, right? Atal Bihari Vajpayee. He came to the opening of Glory of India Temple at Delhi, Radha Parthasarathi Mandir in 1998. So he gave a speech, and in that speech he said, if we look back into the past and see what His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada has achieved, we can only say it's a miracle. It's miracle. It is not ordinary, extraordinary. So exactly that's what is being told here. Sanjay is telling, wherever Krishna and his pure devotee comes, so then there is a magic, there is a miracle, there is something extraordinary that happens. So extraordinary power and morality, that is my opinion. So this magic happens because of the love between them. So we see that in the life of all great devotees, they do something extraordinary. Purport. Read, please. Go ahead, Chanakya. Yeah.
Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. The Bhagavad-Gita began with an inquiry of Dhritarashtra's. He was hopeful of the victory of his sons, assisted by great warriors like Bhishma, Drona, and Karna. He was hopeful that the victory would be on his side. But after describing the scene on the battlefield, Sanjaya told the king, you are thinking of victory, but my opinion is that where Krishna and Arjuna are present, there will be all good fortune. He directly confirmed that Dhritarashtra could not expect victory for his side. Victory was certain for the side of Arjuna because Krishna was there. Krishna's acceptance of the post of charioteer for Arjuna was an exhibition of another opulence. Krishna is full of all opulences, and renunciation is one of them. There are many instances of such renunciation, for Krishna is also the master of renunciation. The fight was actually between Duryodhana and Yudhishthira. Arjuna was fighting on behalf of his elder brother Yudhishthira. Because Krishna and Arjuna were on the side of Yudhishthira, Yudhishthira's victory was certain. The battle was to decide who would rule the world, and Sanjaya predicted that the power would be transferred to Yudhishthira. It is also predicted here that Yudhishthira, after gaining victory in this battle, would flourish more and more because not only was he righteous and pious, but he was also a strict moralist. He never spoke a lie during his life. There are many less intelligent persons who take Bhagavad Gita to be a discussion of topics between two friends on a battlefield. But such a book cannot be scripture. Some may protest that Krishna incited Arjuna to fight, which is immoral, but the reality of the situation is clearly stated. Bhagavad Gita is the supreme instruction in morality. The supreme instruction of morality is stated in the 9th chapter in the 34th verse, Manmana Bhava Mad Bhaktaha. One must become a devotee of Krishna, and the essence of all religion is to surrender unto Krishna. Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Raja. The instructions of Bhagavad Gita constitute the supreme process of religion and of morality. All other processes may be purifying and may lead to this process, but the last instruction of the Gita is the last word in all morality and religion. Surrender unto Krishna. This is the verdict of the 18th chapter. From Bhagavad Gita, we can understand that to realize oneself by philosophical speculation and by meditation is one process, but to fully surrender unto Krishna is the highest perfection. This is the essence of the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. The path of regulative principles according to the orders of social life and according to different courses of religion may be a confidential path of knowledge. But although the rituals of religion are confidential, meditation and cultivation of knowledge are still more confidential. And surrender unto Krishna in devotional service and full Krishna consciousness is the most confidential instruction. That is the essence of the 18th chapter. Another feature of Bhagavad Gita is that the actual truth is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. The absolute truth is realized in three features: impersonal Brahman, localized Paramatma, and ultimately the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Perfect knowledge of the absolute truth means perfect knowledge of Krishna. If one understands Krishna, then all the departments of knowledge are part and parcel of that understanding. Krishna is transcendental, for he is always situated in his eternal internal potency. The living entities are manifested of his energy and are divided into two classes, eternally conditioned and eternally liberated. Such living entities are innumerable and they are considered fundamental parts of Krishna. Material energy is manifested into 24 divisions. The creation is affected by eternal time and it is created and dissolved by external energy. This manifestation of the cosmic world repeatedly becomes visible and invisible. In Bhagavad Gita, 5 principal subject matters have been discussed: the Supreme Personality of Godhead, material nature, the living entities, eternal time, and all kinds of activities. All is dependent on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. All conceptions of the absolute truth, impersonal Brahman, localized Paramatma, and any other transcendental conception exist within the category of understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although superficially the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the living entity, material nature, and time appear to be different, nothing is different from the Supreme. But the Supreme is always different from everything. Lord Chaitanya's philosophy is that of inconceivable oneness and difference. This system of philosophy constitutes perfect knowledge of the absolute truth. The living entity in his original position is pure spirit. He is just like an atomic particle of the Supreme Spirit. Thus, Lord Krishna may be compared to the sun and the living entities to sunshine. Because the living entities are the marginal energy of Krishna, they have a tendency to be in contact either with the material energy or with the spiritual energy. In other words, the living entity is situated between the two energies of the Lord, and because he belongs to the superior energy of the Lord, he has a particle of independence. By proper use of that independence, he comes under the direct order of Krishna. Thus, he attains his normal condition in the pleasure-giving potency. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to the 18th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of its conclusion, the perfection of renunciation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so Bhagavad Gita ends here. Thank you very much. Any questions or comments?
मुझे पूछना है।
हाँ, आपको तो हमेशा पूछना होता है. Anyway, no problem. So,
नहीं, पर आज मैं पूरे
everyone,
क्लास में चुप थी। हम्म।
because in the comment you mentioned you are sleeping. So if you are sleeping, how can you talk? All
Okay.
right. So
I
first
saw
question,
you
let me
very
cross.
much dedicated to. I saw you very
There
much
is,
dedicated
you can
towards.
say Tamataji. There is a
क्या?
question on the chat box. How do we preach to the new people? Because the temple authority always asks us to bring new people to the temple. When most of them cannot understand Bhagavad-Gita. After the lecture, they just leave and never come back. So how do we preach to the new people? Because they always ask us to bring new people. After the new people, how do we preach?
Prasadam.
Uh, yeah, we should give prasad. But see, how we preach to new people, preaching to new people is not an individual effort, especially in these day and age. Uh, for preaching, there are many factors which have to be taken care of. First thing is we should know during Srila Prabhupada's time, mm, because of Prabhupada's presence, not only he, but people who were around him, they were empowered specially to meet people and then immediately inspire them. You know, you cannot. That's why I always tell we should go back and study the history of iskcon, because what was happening in those days was really a magic. Devotees going out on the street and just telling someone in 2 minutes about the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, and that person comes to temple and gets the head shaved and joins. I mean, you can't even begin to understand how it happened. How it happened. You know, they just kind of surrendered everything. So difficult, which is so difficult. So that time there was a very different energy flowing. Um, in the movement. Now that energy is not so much present. So if you want to preach nowadays nicely, then we have to put a lot of conscious effort and collective effort. It cannot be one person's job. It has to be done together. There has to be nice planning and then execution of that plan, you know. And then people should be very mm, lovingly, caringly brought into this movement. So that if that is not there, then it's difficult to get people in. That's why preaching is a big thing. So we have to strategize. We have to find out what will inspire them. We have to also be very, very accommodating. We need to become more selfless. If we are just busy with our own life, how can we preach? Because preaching means sacrifice, time, energy. You have to give up your own comforts. You have to extend yourself. Yesterday, I traveled from one island in Indonesia to another island. So we went by ship. It took 6.5 hours. My first journey on ship. So I was on the on the deck, and I was just wondering, like Srila Prabhupada, he was on ship for 30 days, going to a foreign land. I'm going with devotees. And he was on a ship for 30 days, going to a foreign land. For what? To help people, you know. So one has to take such inconveniences in life if we want to preach. That is very much required. But if that we don't do individually and collectively, then how will people become devotees? Or if they become also, how will they become trained in Krishna consciousness? That will not happen. Right. So that is preaching is that's why not easy.
Prabhuji,
Next,
does Sukriti play a role here?
Sukriti of people. Yeah,
Yes,
it plays a
devotees.
role. It plays a role. Also, you can increase people's Sukriti by going out, meeting people, talking to them, giving them prasadam, chanting in the street. If you do all those things, then it increases people's piety.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
So that is one as okay, there's another question. In order to preach to others, we should open my mind to keep associating with people with different religions and just walk away without association. Well, you don't have to really associate with people of different religions. Uh, Association we should do with devotees only. Yeah, you can hang around with people of different religions sometimes, meet them, talk to them. That's okay to just have some social dealings with them. For preaching, we don't really have to understand other religions. We have to understand Bhagavatam. If you understand Bhagavatam, you understand everything. You understand all types of religion. And it's not that knowledge is going to bring transformation in people's heart. Transformation is going to come from they seeing your saintly nature, right? Not that, oh, you know Gita very well, you know Bible very well, you know Quran very well, so people will become impressed by you and will start following your instruction. No, people will be inspired by your saintliness. So how will they be inspired by that saintliness? When they will see, I am not a devotee, and I act in this way in a particular situation. I think in this way. I, I feel like this. And he or she is a devotee. And the way he acts, the way she behaves, the way he thinks, the way she reacts. So when they see this contrasting difference and they see the saintliness in our dealings and the way we conduct life, then they become inspired. Oh, I wish I can be also like that. That's called preaching. When people saw Prabhupada, they were so inspired by him. He's such an old man, but look at him. He's so full of life. He's so happy. He's always working so hard. He has no complaints. He's happy with little. He's so loving, so caring. And they were like, I wish I can also someday become like him. He loves Krishna so much. I wish I can also love Krishna or God so much. So if we can help people start desiring like that, then that is called preaching. Right. Okay. Vardhani Mataji, what's your question?
Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, my question is regarding sloka number 18.63. Like that Lord is telling that yatha ichhasi tatha kuru. So Prabhuji, in case of parenting, if like we are raising children and we are in a non-devotee family or like environment is not that devotional, so like we should force our children to eat only prasad or to eat or to not to eat outside or onion garlic on because I have heard that like we should be inspiring them or but we should not force them. So how should apply on this like our children? Thank you very much.
You see, uh, in a family where others have having different thoughts or ideas about the diet of the child. So as a mother, if you're talking about, let's say yourself or a person who is a mother or a father, they have the highest say, which means what they decide is the final thing. Forget about grandfather, grandmother, uncle, aunt, all that stuff, because it's their child, so they decide. what to feed the child, right? And in the case of parents, either one is a devotee, so he or she can convince the other person, you see, I want this child of ours to follow this kind of diet. One can be very firm about it. There's nothing like, okay, we are in a family, so we should agree to everyone. You know, you from the beginning you be firm about that decision, so that child will develop that taste only. And later on, when the child grows and he or she wants to experience something else, okay, fine. But then at least why give wrong sanskars to the child right in the beginning? Give the right sanskars. So what is so special about onion and garlic? Don't feed it. What is it about? It's not that if they eat onion garlic, something special is going to happen to them. Right. So we don't have to be always like is adjusting with principles. Sometimes we can adjust, but not with all principles. So we can always take a strong, firm decision. Okay, no, this is what I will feed to my child. Done. Because in India, this is a big problem because so many people will then say, no, no, you should do this, do that. So you have to be a little strong. It's okay. I decided this way.
Okay, like if in later if he wants because of some wrong association, if the child wants to eat
So then
outside,
what you
then
can do, if the child grows up to become a young boy, young girl, then you can't really control so much. Then you have to allow some extent. You can't really control. After 16, there's not much control.
Rosie, one more question. Like in 18.66, Lord is telling that do not fear. And Prabhupada is also writing that you won't suffer if you surrender to Lord. But Rosie, like I have seen that whenever I try to surrender more to Krishna, then we have to tolerate more or like people's criticism and problem increases. Like in that movie also, Mahavatar Narsimha, like the friend of Prahlad Maharaj says that if you are following this path of devotional service, then your path will be full of thorns. So Prabhuji, this frightens me that it's better to live a normal life. Like if you will surrender to Krishna, then a lot of problems are going to come. So these two things are contradictory. Prabhuji. So like suffering will come, but here it is written that do not fear. How to
Yeah.
understand?
So please know one thing, that when something very valuable is given, then also you don't want everyone to, you know, jump at it, because you know that not everyone is really, really ready for it. So you also tell them this is not easy, it's very difficult, problems are going to come. So this is just to test their enthusiasm, how serious they are about it, you know. So that's why. So if you are serious, then you will not bother about such statements. It's okay. One thing I always tell devotees when they complain about difficulties in the path of Krishna consciousness, I tell them that there's nothing easy. It's our foolish mind which makes us think that something is easy and something is difficult. There's nothing easy in this world. Nothing. You tell anything which is easy. There is nothing which is easy. You want to do sense gratification, that is also not easy. You know, because you have to work very hard. First, work very hard, earn a lot of money, then do things, then make plans, and then you enjoy. So nothing is easy. So people who think that this is going to be easy, that is going to be tough. No, everything is tough. And if you plan for a very easygoing life, material nature will make it tough for you. Right? There's nothing easy. So we have to understand that if we anyway we have to work hard, which is the nature of this material world, it will make you work hard. Why not work hard for Krishna?
Mhm.
If I really have to work hard, there's no getting away from that. You know, why not work hard for Krishna? People may say, no, I have a very luxurious, comfortable life. Physically, they may be having a life of a lot of pampering, but mentally they are in stress, so they are working very hard. So if I really have to work hard, I have to struggle, as they say. So why not then struggle for Krishna?
Prabhuji,
If I fail also in that struggle, then what is the problem? And if I pass, then there's nothing more to gain. Right. So that's why we should uh, make our determination strong. No, it's okay. Let me let me push myself a bit more. Let me extend myself a bit more. So we have to do that. Or if you can't do that, then you stop and then begin it from where you stopped next life. Because we can't reach the end of the journey without going through the journey. No? Sometimes we just want to reach the end of the journey. We imagine, I wish one helicopter comes from the sky, picks me up and just takes me to the final point and drops me there. Easy. I don't want to walk along the path. But that's not going to come. We have to walk the journey. Okay, Shweta Mataji.
Prabhuji, I want to add one thing. Like Prabhupada, like one devotee said to Prabhupada, Prabhupada, material life is, oh, sorry, spiritual life is difficult. Prabhupada says spiritual life is difficult, but material life is impossible.
Yes, very true. It's
Yes.
impossible.
Prabhuji, my question is like, I have, when I have heard from you since so long, I have seen a deep gratitude inside you for Prabhupada. So, like, I carry gratitude towards my Guru Maharaj, Prabhupada also, but I don't think so. I carry so much deep gratitude towards Prabhupada as you carry. So, how can I develop love and gratitude towards Prabhupada? I would like to know that. How
You
can I?
develop love towards any personality by hearing about that personality from those who love him. First. Second, by doing some seva for that personality. And third, by also, you know, changing your definition of love. Why we love our spiritual master? Because we are seeing some immediate benefit from the spiritual master. My spiritual master is doing this for me or doing that for me. That's why I love my spiritual master. So that is nice. That should be there. But isn't that a very narrow, constricted approach towards love? Because I love just because he's doing something for me. You know? So there, then my love is basically more of, okay, someone is doing something for me, so I love. If someone is not doing something for me, then why should I love? Right? But that is not love, no? That's not really love. That's more of, okay, I got something, So I should be grateful. I should be happy about it. So we have to increase our change our definition of love also. We should also admire and appreciate those personalities. Maybe directly we may not see their hands in our life, but whatever they have done for the world, whatever they have done for people, whatever they have done for devotees in general. So we should see
That
that also.
that admiration is there, but like I see you now, so you are so grateful and you are so much towards Srila Prabhupada. So I want to get that I want to execute his mission. So that is not there.
That's what I said, Mataji. You have to first of all hear about a person whom you want to love. You have to hear from those who love him. So that's how you get love. That's the secret of loving someone. You want to love someone, instead of being with that person, you hear about that person from someone else who loves him or her. Because when you are with that person, then you see that person with your limited vision. And then what will happen? Quickly you start finding faults. Oh, he's like this or she's like that. But when you hear about that person from someone who loves that person, then you develop a certain perception of that person. You know? So that's how you develop love, by hearing from those who love. So that's the same principle which works in becoming a devotee of Krishna. Why it is told to us that you should hear from pure devotees of Krishna. Why? Because pure devotees of Krishna love Krishna. So when you hear from them, you get their love for Krishna.
Okay, thank you.
So if I want to get love of Krishna, I should hear from them who love Krishna. Similarly, if I want to get love of some devotee of Krishna, I should hear from them who loves that devotee of Krishna. It's a simple concept, applicable everywhere.
Hare
Right?
Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavat Pranam, Prabhu. Prabhu, is a similar question, but I just wanted to be answered, in according to my, what I am feeling like that. Prabhuji, in my day-to-day practice, I sometimes feel that difficulties increase when we increase our bhakti. And I know it is for our purification, but still, how to overcome those difficulties? And are these to be seen as a purification or karma or something else? And how can I respond to that kind of thought without becoming disturbed?
You see, it is true also that problems may increase, but at the same time, it may not be really always like that. Perhaps we have just developed that kind of mentality, and that's why we always see it like that. You know, and the nature of the mind is very tricky. The mind tricks us into assuming many things, which will only discourage us from doing the right thing. So that's why we should not think too much about it. I'm doing this now in my bhakti, so this problem came, that problem came. No, let it come and let it go. Don't think so much about it. Problems will come and go. And we have to learn to not give so much attention to many things that happen in life. It's a passing moment. It's a passing experience. Let it pass. That's all. Right? The problem is when we get stuck. We just keep on thinking about it. But you need not think about everything that happens in life. Right? We have to
Yes,
learn
Prabhu.
to focus on the essential thing, no?
Yes, Prabhu.
So therefore, let's not become discouraged by that. We increase our bhakti And increasing our bhakti doesn't mean that you're always breaking down, like, oh, this is too much for me, this is too much for me. That increase should be gradual. That increase should be what we can, you know, um, adapt to in some time. It should not be that you are just lifting a load which you cannot actually lift. Uh, it's like, for example, if you're going for training program in the gym, on the first day you lifted 2 kilograms. So you can't go there on the second day and jump to lifting 20 kilograms. You have to maybe add a little bit more, make it 2.5 or 3. So similarly, when we are surrendering to Krishna, we cannot surrender in a way that we break down. This is too much. No, we can do it gradually, step by step. Surrender to Krishna. And so that we are doing it in an harmonious manner, in an organic manner. If we just abruptly decide to do things, then it will bring a problem to the system. And for that, then we have to pay a price. So some people are very strong, so they can pay the price also, but some people are not. So do it gradually.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. Another question, Prabhu. Like, it is said that through bhakti, one can truly know Krishna. In Krishna's pastimes, he will go, like, for example, many acharyas or many senior devotees. They talk to deities also. In fact, they goes into their pastimes, in their leelas with such consciousness. But as a practitioner, one can, like me, example, as a practitioner, that relationship, how will I develop to, to talk to deities in reality like that?
Okay. So we can talk to the deities with faith that deity is a person. That's how we can talk to the deities. Talking to the deity basically means expressing your mind to the deity. That you are in front of Bhagavan, front of Krishna. So you tell them, tell Krishna, this is what is going on in my life. This is what I'm doing. I'm struggling with all this stuff. I want to do nice bhakti and all that. You express your point. Expressing your mind. Talking basically means expressing your mind. Like you express your mind to a friend, or you call your friend sometime and you talk about this is what is going on in life. Similarly, we go in front of the Krishna and express what's going on in our mind. Mm. So that's called talking. At the level of sadhaka, we can do this. The point of Krishna replying to you as a normal person replies back to us, that may not happen immediately. It doesn't mean that Krishna won't reply, but Krishna will not be so direct in his replies immediately because one thing Krishna is very careful about. And what is that? If I give too much of favor to this person now, this person may start sitting on my head.
Correct.
So Krishna is very careful. Let me slowly give mercy to this person. Because we have a tendency not to sit over people's head. That's why we are in the material world. We have that tendency. Immediately we start bossing around, controlling. So then Krishna, he likes to play safe with us. Uh, so he will not immediately give us that. Therefore, we should not be like imagining, okay, Krishna will also talk to me personally. He will talk, but for that you have to pay a heavy price, Prabhu. And we are not really ready to pay that price. What is that price? Srinivas Acharya Prabhu?
Consistent devotional service.
That is not, that is there, but there's one more price. Which is a very heavy price.
Living material life.
Yes, that is
No,
also
no,
100%
no,
surrender, Prabhuji.
yeah,
100%.
that is.
He may
no.
take away many things also. Like, the
Krishna
Lord.
will talk. Krishna will talk to you only when you have given up all the relationships in this world, and there's no one for you.
Mm.
Then, when there's no one for you, then Krishna will make you his. Okay, there's no one for you, so I am yours. So that's a very heavy price. No, who can pay that price?
Only acharyas can.
Only those who are done with all relationships and they understand Krishna now. Only you and me. That's all. So then Krishna says, okay, fine, because there's no one else to talk to you. No, I'm there. So that point we have to come to. Then we can expect Krishna talking to us. Otherwise, why would Krishna talk to us? He will think, he think, I'm just one of your contacts.
Correct.
Just one of your contacts.
Prabhuji, that's
Acharyas,
Hmm?
acharyas also have people now around them.
Yeah, they have people around them only after they become pure. Before that, there is no people around them. Before that, they're alone only. Like, look at the life of Srila Prabhupada. I mean, we can say so many examples, but look at the life of Prabhupada. He was alone, na? Alone, doing everything alone. Family not supporting, God brothers not supporting, no friends, no one. Everything is doing alone, right? Then people came, but when did they come? They came later. But there was a phase when struggling alone. No one, no one there.
Prabhuji, Krishna may not talk directly, but will he talk through his devotees or?
Yeah, that's what he will do. So it's like when you say a prayer to Krishna, it doesn't mean that no reply. Reply will come, but reply will come in different ways. Not exactly the way we want, Krishna, you should personally reply to me. No. So it will come through devotees, through books when you're reading, or through incidents, through experiences, even through materialistic people. So Krishna will respond. But if you want that response, okay, I personally message you, you personally message me. That will only come when this. In Bhagavatam, this word is a akinchana or nishkinchana. Then when we become like that, then there is this direct one-to-one.
Okay. And Prabhuji, just one question in 67 verse, I mean, it may be a repeat. This confidential knowledge may never be explained to those who are not austere or devoted or engaged in devotional service. But only after they read scriptures, like, I mean, they read Bhagavad-Gita, will they understand that he's the supreme, right? I mean, before that, I mean, if they're not entitled to the
But they will
scriptures, then
not understand. They will not understand if they don't have the right attitude. They will only understand if they hear from the right person. So if they come across a devotee and then they start studying Bhagavad Gita from a devotee, then they will understand. But if
okay.
they just buy it on their own and read, and if they don't have the right attitude, how will they understand? They will not. So if let's say they buy a book written by Srila Prabhupada, Bhagavad Gita as it is, then it will help them to understand because They are not reading it by themselves. They are reading it with the commentary of Srila Prabhupada, guided by Srila Prabhupada, right? So
Yes.
then they may understand on their own, but no.
Okay. Thank you.
Dinamai Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Prabhu. Can I ask a question?
Yes, yes.
Prabhuji, as you mentioned, it's a high price, leaving everything is to be done. In that case, as we discussed last week, that we are in the state of karma yoga to nishkama karma, we are in that level only. Then in this process, we will not start hating or getting aversion towards the world or the so-called relatives or the
It's
people
not that
around
you
us.
have to, it's not that you have to do it. You see, when you become ready for it now, then life makes it happen for you.
But in that process, sometimes we tend to hate things also, no, Prabhu?
You don't hate. Why would you hate? You won't hate. You will hate only if you have expectations from someone. Those expectations are gone, then why would you hate anyone?
Yes, Prabhu.
So when you are hating someone, that means you are still not really done with that relationship. You
Yeah,
still you still have complaints.
no, I'm not. I'm saying it's not in the sense of one-to-one relationship only, na. Means it happens ना कि मुझे दुनिया से कुछ लेना देना है, मेरे लिए खाली कृष्णा है. ऐसे भी एक फेस में चले जाते हैं बहुत लोग.
So
I've seen people doing that.
that kind of Mataji, that kind of mentality is there because we are only acting on emotional platform. We are
Acha,
not
okay.
really oriented in the spiritual truths. This
Hmm.
kind of behavior is shown by people who are just getting emotionally drifted. Krishna is very kind, Krishna is very nice. So I like Krishna. People of this world are not so nice. So this is just being on the mental emotional platform now. But there is no proper understanding of who people are, what is spirit soul, why people are behaving in the way they are behaving. It's actually the three modes that is making them behave in such a manner. Uh,
Yes, that maturity. Yes, yes, Prabhu. That is anyhow lacking in them.
so
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
that's why our emotions, to just have emotions is not sufficient. Those emotions have to be based on proper understanding of truths, the spiritual truths.
Yes,
Otherwise,
Prabhuji.
they can be just emotions. But those
So,
emotions have to be founded on proper understanding of spiritual truths. So that's why we study Siddhanta very nicely.
yes, Prabhuji. Means detachment and knowledge should go hand in
Yeah,
hand. Then one
yeah.
day it will be
Knowledge,
possible.
detachment should be based on knowledge.
Yes,
Detachment should
Prabhuji.
not be just based on bad experiences.
Correct, correct.
Because detachment, if it's based on bad experience, that detachment will not last for long. What if after 5 years of bad experience and your karma changes and now you start getting good experiences?
Mm-hmm. Yes,
You
Prabhuji. Got it.
understand me? Right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So then what will happen? Now I'll start seeing the whole thing in a totally different manner. Earlier I was hating the world. Now I'll start seeing the world as a very happy place.
Correct. And more attachment also increases. Maybe it will be
Yeah, that
leading
will
to more
increase
karma. Yeah,
also.
yeah.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
So that will
Thank you.
happen. So therefore, we should know that frustrations in material life, they bring us to bhakti sometimes. It happens for many of us. We are frustrated with things in life and then we come to bhakti. But uh, if we just do bhakti because we have this idea, okay, world is like this, people are like that, things are very bad, and we don't develop real knowledge of who am I, why people behave in this way, why things are happening. After all, are the people bad, or it's my own karma which is manifesting through these people?
Correct. Yes, Prabhu. That confusion always has.
If that
Yes, Prabhu.
understanding does not come, then
Hmm.
one will be always drifted by the change of time.
Circumstances. Hmm. Hmm. Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
That's the knowledge is very important. That's why Srila Prabhupada wanted devotees. That you have come to bhakti, that is very good fortune of yours. But if you want to stay in bhakti, develop the foundation of knowledge. If you
Hmm.
don't develop the foundation of knowledge, then the circumstances which brought you to bhakti, they may not always remain. They may go away.
Yes, Prabhu.
Then what will you do? Then you will also leave bhakti, right? So this is very important. If we come to bhakti because of some material reason, that material reason cannot be always the reason for us to stay in bhakti, because material things change. They always change. So there has to be shift on, in the reason why we are in bhakti. Like many people, they come to bhakti because I am fed up with people around me. Devotees are so nice. But after some years, maybe those devotees will not be any more nice to you. Then what? Huh? Then what? Then you leave bhakti. So therefore, that knowledge has to be cultivated, no? And if that knowledge is cultivated, then things change, but you don't leave bhakti. If that knowledge is not cultivated, things change, you leave bhakti. Like I'll give you an example. There are people in this world, in this movement, who came to Krishna consciousness, who came to iskcon, because they were charmed by some preacher, uh, and because he or she is a devotee in iskcon, they also became a devotee. Or he is a brahmachari, so they also became brahmachari. Or he went to America to serve in a particular temple, so yes, they also followed to serve in the same temple. And when this particular personality, he, because of some reasons, maybe mistake, carelessness, or some unfolding of karma, that person left the temple, left the ashram, left the movement, left the spiritual master. They also just blindly left. But why should they leave? If they really understood what bhakti is, should they leave? Would they leave? They won't leave. They would never leave. Right? That means the reason they came and the reason they left was always a material reason. It was not, it did not become a spiritual reason. Right? But if our understanding comes to this level that no matter what changes in this world, no matter who changes in this world, no matter even people who brought me to bhakti, they change. I will not change. My resolve remains the same to practice Krishna consciousness. That means we have developed a strong footing, as this a strong footing in the understanding of Krishna consciousness. That has to be cultivated. Okay, so we stop here. Thank you very much for studying Bhagavad Gita as it is.
Last question.
Last question. Shweta, okay.
You said we have to be achintem, something you said when if we have to talk to Krishna. So you said now all we have to pay the heavy price. So,
Talking to Krishna means anyone can talk to Krishna. But talking to Krishna here means, okay, you want to have one-to-one dialogue. That's so much of intimacy, like that.
so like if we have a suppose less attachment to all the things, and we are in suffering since many time, and still we are trying in bhakti. So, is that a stage when spiritual masters enter your life? Means I want to understand.
Spiritual master can come to our life anytime. It's like, you see, there, because it's so much dependent on also our karma and how much we have done bhakti in our previous life. So spiritual master may come anytime. Sometimes people are suffering very much, so spiritual master comes. Sometimes they are not suffering so much, but just because their karma is very nice from past, spiritual master comes. So it's not like always like that. So we can't generalize it. It's going to work for everyone like that. Hmm. So when a personality will come to your life, uh, that is that's not what we should so much focus upon. What we should focus upon is how can I make my heart uh, favorable for that personality or such personalities to come again and again, right? So to come again and again means to bring mercy again and again. That's how we should be always praying. And when they will come, that's again an independent choice. Just like Krishna is independent, Bhakti is independent, devotees are also independent. They can come to our life anytime, even if you're not qualified, sometimes they'll come. I'll tell you one story, nice story. So we'll end with a story. So like the Ramanujacharya, he was once participating in a procession of the Lord. So the Lord was brought outside the temple and he was being carried on I think on a in a palanquin or maybe on an elephant, something like that. Don't clearly remember. So Ramanujacharya, he wanted to see that procession. So in that crowd, he noticed one strange fellow. What was strange about that person? The whole crowd was looking at the Lord, and this man was looking at one girl, his eyes fixed on that girl. And who was that girl? That girl was his wife. Mhm. So this man was so much enamored by the beauty of his wife that he would only look at her, only look at her. In fact, Ramanujacharya also heard later from people that when she would walk, he would walk, he would walk he would also walk with her, but he would walk back, looking at her. He was so enamored by her beauty. And he would hold an umbrella over her and looking at her, he would walk back and she would walk. So Ramanuja said, what is this? I mean, this kind of craziness I have not seen. So at that moment, he decided the amount of madness he has for the eyes of his wife, I want him to develop greater madness for the eyes of the Lord. He developed this desire, Ramanuja. So this is just, like, it just happened. And so then he went to Dasharath, his name was Dasharath. He went and he asked, what is so special about your wife? He said, her eyes. So Ramanujacharya asked, what if I show you eyes more beautiful than this? He said, okay, if you show me something more beautiful, then from that day onwards, I'll just look at those eyes. So Ramanujacharya told him, come with me. Took him in front of the Lord and prayed to the Lord The Lord, please show him how beautiful your eyes are. And he saw and he said, okay, now I am your surrendered disciple. Please initiate me. I'm also your disciple. My wife also your disciple. So you see here, this is just coincidental. So like that also it happens. Okay, fine. After hearing this story, we may also be wondering, someone comes in our life, does this magic. I don't have to chant all the 16 hours and so much. Just someone calls me, come and show you Krishna's eyes. No problem. We can desire like that. It's good to have such desires than to have some other desires. All right, so we stop here. Thank you very much. All the best for your exams next week. Hare Krishna.